is a man allowed to be in this court?
Well, it's not the court, it's just procedure. No, abuser, the husband may never find out about this whole procedure.
Earlier you mentioned something about the court where a husband can present his evidence. Is there anywhere that a husband can present evidence, or he cannot present evidence nowhere?
Well, not in the I-360 petition, but again, he can file, if he has some information about his wife, any useful information, or especially if it's fraud, he can file it in his local service center, or he can send it to a service center where he filed his original petition for his wife. And I'm sure it would be very carefully reviewed.
I'm just curious about the constitutionality. I mean, I'm sure you study constitutional law, but for, you know, I mean, I'm just thinking of the public's perception. You have an American citizen not allowed to present his side of the story to the Vermont
But
Service
it's not
Center.
the court. This is not the court. It's not a judicial system here.
Then when the case, and then he presents his evidence to the local service center and it goes into immigration court, he's not allowed to go to the court.
No, if it goes to immigration court, if this issue of fraud goes to court, let's say there is a finding of fraud and she appeals, he can present whatever evidence he wants to if it's court. But it's not, and usually what happens with cases like that, there is a so-called order of protection issue, and there are criminal cases or family cases, there is a divorce going on, sometimes custody disputes, and in court, of course this husband can present all kind of evidence, you know, whatever he has. And that's what's going on. It's just like one I-360 petition going on in a space. No. The I-360 petition going on at the same time as a divorce and sometimes criminal case.
So
And CAPIS,
are you saying though
yes.
that the U.S. citizen is allowed, has access to the court at some point or other?
Of course, at all times.
No, we're talking only immigration court.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't make that question clear to you. Does he have any access to immigration court?
Okay, the process is very clear. If anyone, not just the husband, if any person has any information about fraud, okay, and he sends this information to immigration, and immigration reviews and finds that it's true, okay, there is a finding of fraud on a certain immigrant. So this immigrant needs to be deported. The matter gets to be, and if he doesn't leave voluntarily, the matter gets transferred to immigration court. Okay, and the judge will be deciding whether, you know, it was real fraud or not fraud, or, you know, maybe does the immigrant have some defenses.
Well, the immigrant could be in that court, right?
Yes.
But the husband can't be?
He can, but actually it's up for the trial attorney working in immigration, a prosecutor. You know, it's up for the government attorney to decide whether he needs this husband as a witness to prove finding of fraud. Sometimes they don't need the husband. You know, the issue is so simple, it's just finding of fraud, that's it.
But typically we're talking not the immigration fraud, we're talking about the deciding the green card status. So after the petition is approving, the petition does not automatically give a person a
Even
green
if
card.
this person got her green card, even 10 years after that, if there's a finding of fraud, they can take this green card or even citizenship status away. But the fraud needs to be proven, that's the problem. It's hard to prove fraud anywhere, not just in immigration, and especially in husband-wife situation. It's very hard. It's hard to prove fraudulent marriages, not, you know, just an I-360. It's very hard to prove. I don't know if you've seen a percentage on how many fraudulent marriages has been proven by immigration. I don't remember numbers right now, but it's very low, extremely low. Not because they don't want to, it's just very hard.
I think I remember looking at the numbers and it was, you're right, it's in the dozens or something.
It's
maybe.
outrageous,
Yeah.
it's outrageous.
Yeah, it's very small amount numbers.
And it's very hard to prove because sometimes I had cases like that. This lady comes to me, Russian lady, and she says right away, I have a fraudulent marriage. And I'm like, okay, you know, the only way I can help you is, you know, you have to write a letter to immigration and withdraw your petition. And she says, no, but you don't understand. We live together, we sleep together. I cook for him, but I pay him money. So there is a marriage going on, a real marriage, plus she's paying him to get her status. So how would they prove this fraudulent marriage? You know, they're in an intimate relationship, they live together, okay? And that's what's going on. In a lot of cases, it's not like just she paid him and he gave her green card. They have sex together.
Would they not at that point have, would she not get in trouble from the INS for doing that?
Well, if the INS will be able to prove, you know, that she's paying him and there are no marriage. But how could there be no marriage if they live together? And who knows why she's paying him? Maybe she's paying him for whatever.
Sorry, I've heard of cases where money's changed hands, $10,000 as an example, and the INS finds out about it, and then the woman is immediately deported because she paid this man off just to enter the country. So what you're saying in this case might be... Sometimes
it's an easy case like you just mentioned, but sometimes it's very hard. It's almost impossible. Sometimes those people, the people married, you know, who live together, they don't know if it's fraudulent or not. For example, a husband or wife believes it's real, and the other party also think, you know, maybe it's real, maybe I'll stay, maybe I'll leave after I'll get my green card. It's not black and white.
How would you know the law fairly, you know the law in regards to this self-petitioning process. How can they change it? Is there ways you think that they can improve it?
Improve?
Improve the law?
Again, not the law. The law is pretty good. You know, maybe just the immigration service should conduct, you know, the investigation. I don't want to say more careful. No, they're very good at their job. Maybe they just need more creative way to find out. So because the life becomes more creative.
You think they should do maybe interviews at the local service centers?
They do that. That's what they're doing.
For the Vermont Service Center?
That's what's going on now.
Oh, is that what's going on now?
Yes, yes. But
so the Vermont Service Center doesn't just rely upon the petition, although sometimes they do. It must be a crapshoot to say, you know, a woman claims she's been abused, she's got no official abuse other than she's got a well-written statement, as you mentioned. Yet there isn't in some cases there's interviews, in some cases there's not. So
no, usually all of them get their interviews.
Okay.
Pretty much all of them.
They're
Yes.
conducted locally then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Thank you very much. It
Okay,
was very,
you're welcome.
very
That was very informative. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
How's the recording working there? Oh, I think it's pretty good, yeah.
So, значит, если, да, если
We'll
какой-то случай, вот ты записала, да, это телефон, к кому можно, да, обратиться? Нет еще?